So, Wooden Railway might be the range that I collect the most and the range I invest the most into simply because, it's where I started, it makes the most sense to continue there. But I really like Tommy and Plarail and Old Checkmaster and all that. So that's definitely another part where I'm trying to get more items. I don't really buy everything, just some very special items that interest me for one reason or another. And recently, I was very lucky and managed to get not just one, but two of these items. And they are, of course, the Plarail Shooting Star Gordon and Diesel 10, complete with their rolling stock. So yeah, these are some very, very special items. I'm so happy that I have them. Shooting Star Gordon I wanted to have because, I really like The Great Ace. It's my favorite Thomas movie, and this is a big part of it. It's also a really cool design, and it has the high speed feature. And Diesel 10, well, it's Diesel 10. I don't think I have to explain anything else. He's just awesome. So without any further ado, I think it would be a good place to start. So we'll have a look at Shooting Star Gordon first. Just before we start, I want to point out this model, I got it second hand and it lacked side rods, so I 3D printed these ones, which are inaccurate because I based them on the upgraded side rods that the main Plarail Gordon has. Shooting Star Gordon doesn't have them for some reason. It's a small detail, I just wanted to point it out. So yeah, first of all, this is just a really good representation of the engine, like all the proportions right. Everything just looks right when you just look at him. It really could pass for like, a model train. Not literally, of course, but like, it's not too far off, at least the main body, I feel like. The face is also really good. That is a fantastic Gordon face. I just, you know, it's just really hard to express how well these faces are made by Plarail. They usually go really hard on them. They make them flawless. Not always, but it's just incredible to watch. They've also got all of the right details. They've got these handrails. They've got all the star and all that. This stripe over here. One detail that they don't have is they don't have any detail on the tender. I actually have a custom railway shooting star, so let me just show you what that's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like this, but it's a very small detail. I'm not too upset that it's missing, but it would be nice. I wish the buffers were at least painted, but I'm not really gonna watch those buffers much anyway, so this doesn't really matter. Another thing I'd like to quickly point out is that on the back here he has some licensing info, 2016 Gulain Thomas Limited and all that. Some people dislike this because it's distracting, not necessarily on this model but on other recent Plarail models. I personally think it's not really an issue, but I thought it deserved to be highlighted. So yeah, anything else that needs to be mentioned? There's no paint on this. I think that maybe it's supposed to be like a whistle or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, I think that maybe needs to be pointed out, but again, not a major detail. The coal is a separate piece. That's very nice, and it looks really cool. And I think the last thing that needs to be mentioned is that the cab has this block on the front, which is there due to the switch. I don't think it's really necessary. Like, for example, Tommy Duck, he doesn't have this block, but then instead there is this gap on the front of the cab. So, either way, it's not perfect, but the switch doesn't even really take up that much space, so unless it was needed for a motor or something, I don't think this was really necessary. But again, not really a big detail. Let me just compare him to the custom of Shooting Star, because why not? Yeah, I definitely like this one more. And then of course we have the coach. This is one of the reasons why I really like this item overall, because Plarail, like, they could have just given him, I don't know, a track, maybe, or even a normal express coach, and that would have been fine. You can never have enough express coaches. But that they made up a special coach just for this, even though it doesn't exist, so it would have been perfectly okay if they didn't do that. It's just incredible, you know. So yeah, anyway, this is my first Plarail Express coach. Very interesting design, you know, with, for example, how the wheels are close together. Wait, let me just compare it. Yeah, it's about the same distance as on the track. The front coupling seems to be slightly different than a normal Tommy front coupling. Or maybe not. Yeah, that's another thing that's slightly different than what I'm used to, but you know, there's not really much to talk about. It's a really cool design, but at the end of the day, it's just a coach. And of course, you know, Gordon can pull it and all that. And the last reason that this item is so cool is the high-speed feature. So, Plarail, I'm referring to normal Plarail, not Thomas Plarail. They make a ton of bullet chains, and they have this high-speed feature where the chain can either go normal speed, or it can go high speed. They don't give this to every item, they only give it to the really fast ones like the bullet chains. But they did give it to a couple Thomas items. Shooting Star Gordon is one of them, and then there's also Streamlined Thomas, and then more recently Kenji. I don't think there are any others. Would be cool if they made like a Kana or a Spencer or something like that, but I'm not really counting on it. So yeah, that's Shooting Star Gordon. Now let's have a look at Diesel 10. So, Tomei Diesel 10 is one of those models that isn't really the best. Like I talked about how Shooting Star looks really accurate with all the proportions. Diesel 10 does not, you know, he's a little bit too wide, his face is way too big. It should be smaller. The proportions are just overall kind of wrong. And then another problem is that the claw, it's very limited. It can't move at all. It can only open and close, which is still cool, but I mean, I would have preferred something like what Take Along Diesel 10 has. Plarail actually made a variant of this guy, Token Action Diesel 10, who has a more, you know, portable claw. It's really cool, but it's a little bit fragile, so I understand why they didn't make it the norm. But still, I think they could have done something that looked like Take Along Diesel 10's claw. That was perfect because it could go up and to the side and all that, which is the most important part in my opinion. So yeah, I did just criticize this item a lot, but this is still a really well done item. So it's got a bunch of details like these vents, these are molded and also painted, that's so cool, you know. There's doors, there's the windows, there's a bunch of roof detailing. It's a very detailed toy and I really love it for that. The claw is nicely done, it's not centered, which is odd, not a big deal, but you know, just thought it needed to be mentioned. They even put the thing at the back where, you know, his head code is, I think. Again, they didn't paint the buffers or the buffer beam at the back, which is a shame, but oh well. They are at least painted on the front. And the face, it's a very creepy Diesel 10 face. It's not, you know, the best. Again, it's like a little big and the proportions aren't perfect, but Diesel 10 is supposed to look creepy, so I can't really fault it on that. And the claw, so as I said, it can open and close. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal because the item overall still looks really cool. But it would have been a lot cooler if Diesel 10 could, like, you know, use Pinchy more, because as a kid you want to use the claw to pretend that he's like chasing someone and reaching towards them, or that he's grabbing some sort of cargo. This Diesel 10 can't really do that. Like, imagine that he's grabbing some paint cans. Well, he can grab them, but he can't put them anywhere. So yeah. Also, this item is interesting because it uses a C battery, which also makes him a lot quieter and also heavier. Those are some really nice features. I really like that. So yeah, and also last thing, his face, it's not actually a separate piece, it's painted. As a result, it's possible for the face to get little chips. This Diesel 10 seems to be in pretty good condition. There are some smudges, I'll try to get rid of them, but the only paint chip is this one on the nose, so that's cool. And of course, Diesel 10 comes with rolling stock. Now, just like Plarail Shooting Star, Diesel 10 also has some non-existing tracks that aren't featured in the show, they just made up something. And once again, I really like this. Now, it's important to mention that nowadays it's really common to get multicolored tracks, that for example, Thomas comes with a blue track and Rosie comes with a red track and all that. I don't like it when it's too common because you want the majority of your tracks to be the normal gray. And Plarail did do that. You would get those tracks with, like, I don't know, Henry and Murdoch and Bill and Ben, a bunch of characters. And then there were a few characters, Diesel 10 one of them, who had their own special tracks, which made them stand out more, and thus made them a lot more desirable. And I think that's the best way. You still get a bunch of normal tracks, but very few items have these special ones, and as a result they feel more special than usual. Another thing I didn't expect is that these tracks have these planks painted, which is really cool because the normal Plarail tracks don't have this. You can see it's just plain grey. Not that I think it's an issue, but it's still really cool when an item has that extra thing. Also, these tracks have the same face. I just thought it was worth pointing out that there were some tracks with reused faces, and then, some which had different faces. It's really cool how Plarail mix and match this. You would get a different track face in every pack, and then sometimes you'd have several tracks with the same face. That's really cool. And of course, just like any Plarail tracks, you can put all this cargo inside the tracks. They can carry all this. Again, you can mix and match it, so that's really cool. We still kind of have this, but it's not as good as with Plarail, in my opinion. Anything else that needs to be mentioned? I don't think so. Just last thing, I really like Plarail's way of doing the track faces. Because it's not just that they are 2D, but that they are stylized for 2D. They aren't just screenshots, they're like drawings, and it makes the faces look really cool. And before I show a running session, I'm just going to quickly compare Tommy Diesel 10 to a Wooden Alloy Diesel 10. Definitely like this claw better, but this one has a better livery. And this one has a better face, I think, even if the eyes weren't painted. And then finally, I think I'm just going to quickly show these items next to a normal Plarail Thomas. So yeah, Diesel 10 is a little bit longer. And so is Shooting Star. And I'm just quickly going to show what I meant when I said that Diesel 10 is quieter than a normal item. So this is what a normal Plarail item sounds like. At least a normal Plarail item from that era. Nowadays, I think they made the motors quieter, I think. And this is what Diesel 10 sounds like. You almost don't hear him at all. That's awesome. Shooting Star is also mostly quiet. It's not as quiet, but still really quiet and cool. And also, I'm pretty sure both items are faster than Thomas, but that's not important too much. It's cool though. So yeah, now it's time to do a running session. I love those. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And yeah, let me know if you would like to see maybe some more Checkmaster things, maybe some more running sessions with maybe music in the background or something. Because I really like these items and I'd like to do maybe a little bit more with them. So thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.